pleasure to reach you through this recording. This work of Sister Mary Treacy, who sadly died early on, has been completed really through the goodness and hard work of Father John. And my name is Sister Patricia Devine. I've helped a little bit doing some of the research from our archives, etc. So the title of our paper that we'd like to present is A Missionary Province Without a Mission, 1902 to 1961. This communication will deal with the contribution of the Salesian Sisters Anglo-Irish province to the evangelizing mission of the Church and the Institute, 1902 to 1961. We would like to put a little premise to say that the British Isles have had a long tradition of Christian missionary activity. Since Anglo-Saxon times, England, Scotland and Ireland have been a missionary church. Amongst other great missionaries are recalled St. Patrick, the 5th century, St. Columbanus, 542 to 615, who evangelized parts of modern-day France, Switzerland and Italy. St. Boniface, around about 675 to 754, the great apostle and martyr among the Germanic tribes. It is a heritage developed in a significant manner by the Anglican and nonconformist churches in the 19th, early 20th century Britain, as evidenced in the work of Scotland's Dr. Livingstone, 1813 to 1873, and the London Sparrow Gladys Ulwin, 1902 to 1970 in China. When the Salesian Sisters, as we're going to refer to the Daughters of Mary Help of Christians from now on, arrived in London in 1902, they were entering a country fired with its own missionary ideals and endeavours, both at the local level and internationally, albeit not generally Catholic. Side by side with the political thrust of British imperialism and the geographical exploration in the 19th century, the Church of England and some nonconformist evangelical churches sought to bring the light of Christianity to several colonies and beyond. In fact, the theme of salvation and the work of conversion were to be found in the spirituality of various denominations. New non-Catholic missionary societies flourished, such as the Society for the Propagation of the Gospel, SPG, the Church Missionary Society, CMS, and the London Missionary Society, LMS. Anglican and evangelical missionaries relied on women as wives and associates to assist them in their ministry, especially when dealing with women and children. Several Anglican sisterhoods were founded, especially those of Anglo-Catholic persuasion, and also some evangelical ones. A moral and devotional culture encouraged by Christian evangelism flourished in the 19th century, 20th century England. Women were an integral part of this culture. In England, in fact, women's roles were slowly changing, and some were taking on forms of leadership in local organisations. A few foreign female congregations also arrived in England. In 1830, for example, the Faithful Companions of Jesus, the FCJ, had come to Britain as missionaries and saw themselves as missionaries saving souls. Others arrived with the aim of preparing sisters for missionary work in Anglophone countries. Such, for example, were the Missionaries of the Sacred Heart, founded by St. Francesca Cabrini, who came to England in 1902 and opened a convent just a few miles northeast of Battersea in Honor Oak. A further addition were the Columboni Sisters. Both congregations arrived at the invitation of Bishop Francis Bourne of Southwark, later Cardinal Archbishop of Westminster, 1903 to 1934, who had personally known Don Bosco. Of special note, though, are the foundations of Bishop Bourne's predecessor, Cardinal Herbert Vaughan, Archbishop of Westminster from 1892 to 1903, who founded the Mill Hill Missionaries and the female congregation of the Franciscan Missionaries of St. Joseph in 1884. It is said that when a former Archbishop of Westminster, Cardinal Nicholas Wiseman, 1850 to 1865, was concerned at the small growth of the Catholic population in England, he consulted St. Vincent Pallotti, who declared that growth would only occur when the Church in England sends priests to the foreign missions. The English missionary context. Until 1908, the Roman Catholic Mission of England and Wales was under the jurisdiction of the Vatican congregation Propaganda Fidei. Although the Salesian sisters were invited for very practical, even mundane reasons, they came as missionaries, sharing the dream of Mother Catherine de Guerro, who was impressed by Dominic Savio's distraction. They were missionaries, evangelizers, including the one Englishwoman, Sister Mary Pash. The Salesian sisters arrived in England at the request of the then Salesian provincial, Father Charles Bernard Macy, to attend to the domestic arrangements of the community and boarders in the Salesian College, London, Battersea. Despite the difficult conditions in which they were called to work and the sheer amount of hard work, they clearly considered themselves as missionaries, evangelizers. When, the Sunday after their arrival, with only one sister able to speak English, they began a tentative embryonic form of the Sunday oratory. The Battersea Chronicle notes, "They returned to the house, tired but happy, thinking of the work and therefore of the good that awaits us." (1902 to 1920). The membership of the Salesian Sisters Province from 1902 until 1961 consisted of sisters born in England, Ireland and Scotland, and those sent from Italy. In the following pages, those sent abroad of this group will be considered as local missionaries. In addition, there were many Italian missionaries who had been sent by Mother General and her council to support and join the English Anglo-Irish province as full-time members. Several of these were subsequently redeployed to other needy emerging provinces. These will be considered as provincial missionaries. Alongside these members of the province were other sisters expressly sent to learn the English language in order to be part of the evangelizing mission of the Institute elsewhere. This short communication deals only with missionaries of the first two categories. Before the First World War, when the Anglo-Irish province was barely 6 years old, and membership amounted to 12 English sisters and about 20 Italians, a request was made for English-speaking sisters for the new foundation in America, opened in 1908. In April 1908, therefore, Sister Delfina Cordoni, a provincial missionary, was called to Nizza to be part of the founding community in America, serving the Italian colony in New York. But an English-speaking sister was required to help meet the requests of the Italian parents who wanted their children to learn English. The choice was limited. The lot fell on the 25-year-old Sister Beatrice Curtis, only the second English vocation to reach profession. She left alone from Southampton on the 19th of October that same year. Less than 4 years later, on the 19th of February 1912, 3 more missionaries left for the USA. The provincial missionary Sister Antonetta Paulini, and 2 local sisters, Sister Agnes Powell, and the Italo-English Sister Maddalena Pezzagaglia. October 1913 saw the first English FMA transferred to America, and 2 years later, despite the ongoing First World War, another local missionary, Sister Winifred Ely was missioned to the USA. By 1922, 57% of the total membership of the province had left for the missions, including some of the most promising young sisters who would later occupy posts of responsibility in their adopted provinces. In the early years, but to the present day to some extent, the sending of many missionaries had a negative effect on the growth of the province, which had only one school and 3 Salesian houses. Right from the start of our presence in Great Britain and Ireland, the missionary dimension of the charism was very much in evidence. The sisters considered themselves, as they truly were, missionaries on fire with the desire of leading souls to God. One reads so often in the chronicles of the sisters of their offering the sacrifice of their heavy and humdrum work in the Salesian houses for the conversion of their adopted country, or that Dominic Savio's dream for England might be realised. 44% of the missionaries of this period were local women. A further aspect of the contribution to the missionary life of the Institute was and is to be found in the language training given in the province to missionaries destined for English-speaking communities, a task which Sister Winifred Ely continued in the USA. In language reminiscent of the missionary's departure from Monese, the Battersea Chronicle records one missionary departure. February the 5th, 1912. Today, 3 of our dear sisters left for America. Sister Antonetta Polini, Sister Agnes Powell, Sister Maddalena Pezzegaglia, our good mother, Sister Adelia Getzi, with Sister Mary Botto, who was a superior of Battersea, accompanied them to Southampton, from whence the steamship St. Louis was to carry them across the ocean. It was a moving parting for both groups, promising union of prayers and holy friendship.